I'd like to welcome you to the Board of Supervisors. Please stand and join us in the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Last week's closed session was held pursuant to Government Code 54956.9, a conference with labor negotiators, with SEIU, DSA, CCPSEA, with the Director of Human Resources, resulting in no action taken. We also had a closed session regarding the Government Code 54956.9, a conference with legal counsel regarding existing litigation, 3 cases, Michael Nemi, Michelle Nemi versus the County of Calaveras, Superior Court Case CV 35775, Michael Nemi, Michelle Nemi versus the County of Calaveras, Superior Court Case CV 35721, Michael Nemi, Michelle Nemi versus County of Calaveras. Again, the Calaveras Superior Court, CV 36297, and also resulted in no action taken. I'd like to announce that item 7 on the original agenda, which was a general plan amendment and zoning change for PORAC, the applicant has withdrawn their application. That item will not be heard. I'd like to move to the consent agenda. Does any member of the board, staff, or public have an item they would like to have removed from consent agenda? May I have a motion, please?
I'd like to move the consent calendar.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes on a 5-0. Thank you, and we'll stand in recess for 3 minutes. Bring the meeting back and move to public comment. If anyone has anything they'd like to address to the board not on the agenda, you have 5 minutes.
Good morning. Francine Osborne, Director, Human Resources and Risk Management. I'm just here to remind the board and all employees that today, good health starts with knowing your numbers, and the Anthem Blue Cross bus is in the Public Works Road Department parking lot. They're taking 100 employees, and they're doing screenings to let us know what our total cholesterol, good cholesterol, bad cholesterol, blood pressure. So I encourage everyone to participate. So far, we've had a pretty good turnout. So just a reminder to everyone to head on over there. Only takes about 15 minutes.
And you cannot eat for 4 hours prior to?
Yes. They actually had, notice had been given to employees, so most people filled out their questionnaire and got instructions not to eat or drink 4 hours before. So if you're interested in doing that, we encourage you. They will take walk-ins. So thank you.
Thank you, Francine.
Good morning. My name is Les Martin. I live in Valley Springs, California. And this morning I'm addressing the board regarding the 3-2 vote taken on 7/27/2010 on the subject of expending in excess of $375,000 for the purchase of a new Caterpillar D6T XL dozer for Rock Creek landfill. It's a Citizens Kelly and I believe White raised many cogent questions in the last meeting regarding the necessity of purchasing a new unit which is projected by your staff to run approximately 1,000 hours per year. Given the 7-day-a-week operation of Rock Creek and a limited closure for holidays, this would equate to about 2.86 hours running hours per day. This is less than the commute time of many of the working citizens in this county. My basic concern is that it appears that ethical government purchasing tenets have been grossly violated. Specifically, in my opinion, There are many competing pieces of equipment which will do the required tasks, yet they were not invited or allowed to submit competitive bids in a true proposal manner. Examples of such equipment would include, and not be limited to, Caterpillar, Komatsu, Deere, Case, and Dresser, all 45,000 pound machines, all dozers, all with reputable backgrounds. Specifications seem to have been written by the user and are completely skewed toward Caterpillar equipment to the exclusion of others. Not only is this a direct violation of public purchasing procedures, it begs the question of one asking, what's in it for me? When staff was questioned with regard to the purchase of equipment with experience, used equipment, the response was an undocumented statement that to buy a used piece of equipment would cost $500,000. Given the fact that the unit is only seen 2.85 hours per day, was this retrofit more wants than needs? I believe you still have compactors out there at the dump, and this basically, the dozers are being used for coverage. We'll leave that right there. Staff seem to be dazzling the board with the rationale of sole source based upon unique diagnostic equipment and inventory mismatch. I find this ludicrous at best, because it should be totally discounted, as in today's market, on-site inventory should be limited to just normal consumables such as filters, and the balance should be sourced either from OEM distributors or the dealer. I was somewhat surprised with the comments of staff that due to the fact that they have Caterpillar engine diagnostic equipment, it would be a cost savings to the county, and this prompts me to ask the following question. Oh, we got this piece of equipment. So if this is really the case, why doesn't the county just cut right to the quick and just simply say, Caterpillar is going to be the sole source based upon a piece of equipment? This does not make it with me at all. It's my understanding that at least one of the competitors, and this happens to be Deere, features as standard equipment on their landfill special 850J, I believe, onboard diagnostics with direct readout and the capability to download remotely either to Deere in Moline, Illinois, or to the dealership, or to your shop. With regards to the statements made that the existing tractor is down because of a failed final drive, I'm somewhat puzzled by the statement made by staff that replacement parts are not available, and they were quoted $12,000 with used parts, no warranty. Is this a written quote from a reputable supplier? I also find it hard to believe that someone, a dealer or whatever, will flat rate a unit without seeing the failed components. I trust the existing tractor is laying in pieces down at landfill, or is it still in one complete piece? With regard to a $3,000 trade-in, again, is this a written quote from a reputable dealer? If so, where is it? In summation, I feel that Supervisors Thomas and Toffanelli acted both in a fiscally responsible and ethical manner to the concerns made of this supposedly non-controversial consent agenda item. Furthermore, in view of my comments and those of Mr. Kelly, and I'm going to say Mr. White, I may be wrong on that name, that upon hearing these comments, Supervisor Walensky make a motion to reverse the award of the contract for the new D6T XL and direct staff to follow ethical purchasing procedures and formally bid this item, or alternatives as suggested by Mr. White and Kelly in a true competitive environment. Had the formal bidding process been incorporated in the first place, this conversation and previous debates would have been avoided. As an aside,
Mr. Martin,
yes, ma'am.
Reached your 5 minutes.
Oh, okay. My 5 minutes are up?
Yes.
Well, bless you. Okay. What I'd like to do, I'd like to present, in closing, I'd like to present Chair Callaway with a wonderful copy of the 10 Commandments of Ethical Public Purchasing that may be shared with everybody on staff, and I think it should be. Thank you.
Mr. Martin, did you want to meet with the department and see the analysis that was done?
I would like to see the existing equipment.
Well, I'm sure that could be arranged.
Thank you very much.
I will have a member of the department.
I could drive out to.
I will have a member of the department give you a call to set up an appointment, and so you can see the analysis that was done.
And my comments will still remain the same.
That's
Thank
fine.
you, ma'am.
You're welcome. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to address?
I have a quick comment. That sounds pretty complicated, but I'm here with a simple issue. I'm here because
Your name, please.
My name is Tara Easton.
Okay.
And I'm here because my family is preparing to appeal a requirement to pave the encroachment of our driveway on Blue Mountain Road in Wildeeville. I'm giving everybody letters and trying to follow proper procedure. But the more I talked to people in the community, it sounded like there was quite a few people who were having an issue with this requirement to pave the apron of where your driveway hits the county-maintained road. And so I thought it was worth coming down here and commenting to the board on, since I had the opportunity. Our particular driveway has been there for, I think, 30 years, longer than I've been living there. And it's a pretty solid gravel road that's on a lava cap base, and I absolutely see the need to pave roads that cause some sort of a threat to the county-maintained road, something that's on a downslope or a muddy dirt road that might wash into the county-maintained road. But our driveway has, in the 30 years it's been there, has never been a problem for Blue Mountain Road out there. It's a solid road, as I said. And our new home that we're working on building, which the permit has led to this encroachment need, is actually a replacement home for an old cottage that we have been living in, which will be abandoned when the new home is complete. So there will be no additional traffic on the road, no additional people, and it seems just to me like an unnecessary expense to my family and an unnecessary inconvenience to our neighbors who share the driveway. So I talked to a couple of contractors in the area, a couple of neighbors, and a couple of builders, and several people said that they thought, in general circumstance, this requirement to pave the road was a little bit overboard and not necessary in all situations. And I just thought it was worth mentioning publicly because there are a lot of other families who are dealing with this issue. I thank you for your time. I have some photos. I don't know if I can pass those on. Photos and some letters. And I'll be sending a letter to Public Works and to the supervisors if that's okay. Thank you.
Mr. Walensky, did you want to make a comment?
Yes, this is an issue that is coming up frequently in my district, and there are a couple of circumstances that it does seem that our one-size-fits-all approach doesn't make any sense. For instance, there's a road that has 11 miles of gravel with a little bit of slurry seal occasionally on the way. And at the top of that road is a ranch that's been there for 100 and some years. The ranch house has fallen over, so they're building a new home for themselves, a little similar to this situation. And they're being asked to do a paved apron from their driveway going into the gravel road, which in my view is never going to be paved, at least on the current schedule of paving new roads in Calaveras County, in my lifetime, their kids' lifetime, or their grandkids' lifetime. So requiring that kind of it makes sense when you're dealing with a driveway that's going onto a paved road, and the driveway's coming down into the road, and gravel washes onto it. You have motorcycle accidents, you have cars skid out on that stuff, and it presents a public safety matter, and I think it's good to have some kind of approach to this. But when you're going from gravel to gravel, this doesn't seem to make any sense at all, and especially where rural communities like their rural nature, and when there isn't a public safety element to it, it really should require us to take a look at our policies and make sure that we're not just messing with people. So there are a couple of formal issues that will be coming to us, appeals. I've asked that people direct that to the Public Works Department, which is smart and can figure this stuff out, and I hope that they will come to us with revised proposals that take this into account. Again, the features are, number one, no density increase. Number two, gravel going to gravel. And the wishes of the community, in this case a number of people, Tara shares the driveway and through a series of easements to get to the road, where all the people there don't wish pavement to take place.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Walensky. Are there any other comments, public comments?
Good morning. My name's Tanya Dowson, and I'm from Burson. George Washington stated very clearly that private property and freedom are inseparable. The natural rights to own property as outlined in the Constitution is premised in the owner's determination of its use, provided that such use does not disturb the equal rights of another. Agenda 21 is the United Nations plan to grab land and thus power under the guise of protecting the environment and equality. For quite a while now, those who have been in these meetings warning about the dangers of Agenda 21 have been scoffed at and dismissed by our Board of Supervisors as conspiracy theorists, especially by Supervisor Thomas and Supervisor Toffanelli. Are you aware that the state of California actually has Agenda 21 listed at the very top of its resources for the California EPA website? Agenda 21 is now being exposed for the power grab that it is and can no longer be dismissed as a paranoid conspiracy theory. According to the United Nations, quote, land cannot be treated as an ordinary asset controlled by individuals and subject to the pressures and inefficiencies of the market. Private land ownership is also a principal instrument of accumulation and concentration of wealth, and therefore contributes to the social injustice. If unchecked, it may become a major obstacle in the planning and implementation of development schemes. Public control of land use is therefore indispensable, unquote. The International Council for Environmental Initiatives, also known as ICLEI, is a division of the United Nations that promotes Agenda 21 at the local government levels. Harvey Reuven, vice chair of ICLEI, has said that individual rights will have to take a back seat to the collective in the process of implementing sustainable development. According to Michael Shaw of Freedom Advocates, the transformation of free societies into collective societies through sustainable development ensures the presence of a ruling elite, which by definition ultimately excludes all but a very few. Whatever you call it, Agenda 21, sustainable development, smart growth, the goals are the same: to reduce and eventually eliminate private property ownership and rights. As our representatives who have taken an oath to uphold the Constitution, you should take every step you can to oppose these agendas. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dawson.
Mike Dowson, also from Burson. Wanted to talk a bit about just some of the general ideas about the general plan update. Supervisor Callaway and others on this board have kind of made comments that people who are advocating property rights don't really understand the difference between land use designations and zoning, that they are not one and the same. And I thought, just intuitively, why are we spending $1 million to do land use designations if it really doesn't really matter? And I finally round into the thing that, yes, they really do matter. In SB 375, once you have adopted the general plan, you will have, and I'll quote, you'll be required to complete rezoning of all the sites identified in the housing element for residential development within 3 years of the element's adoption. So yes, when you do vote for this particular general plan, you are voting for sustainable development and changing people's property rights. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Dawson.
Good morning. My name's Bonnie Newman. I'm from Double Springs. My item this morning reminds me of Mr. Clapp, who's always objecting to consent items being passed as routine and uncontroversial. So I'm going to talk about a routine and uncontroversial item that was passed last month. It was presented to the Board of Supervisors as the IHSS budget. I stood up and wanted clarification of the IHSS budget. And when it all sifted out, it turned out it was really the public authority budget that was being passed. I wonder why it was presented as IHSS. To me, that seemed like a way to sneak something by without putting the real label on it. When I had a chance to look at that budget, thanks to Marita and Mary Sawicki, what I found in here was some IHSS money that goes through the public authority, but the public authority has no input or ability to use this money. When you take that IHSS money out of the budget, it becomes a budget of like $200,000. I noticed in the presentation to the Board of Supervisors, they made a little pie and indicated how much of the budget was administrative costs. With the money from IHSS included, they said it was 40% of their budget. With the IHS money taken out, it's more like 70 or 80% of that budget. And I'd like to talk about those administrative costs for a moment. This program has 2 employees. It used to have 3. I've always contended that the program could run with 1. But they have 2 employees now, which is very similar to the Victim Witness Program. The Victim Witness Program provides a variety of direct services to people, and the coordinator of that program has been working with the victim witness for 26 years. Her pay at this point is $23 an hour. I compare that to the public authority budget. The coordinator has been with that program for 8 years, and her wages are $35 an hour. Trying to find out what the disparity is, I have been able to figure out, I think, that the public authority was allowed to create their own program and set their own pay scale, and therefore that's why it's so out of sync with other comparable programs in the county. I'm talking about this because just the way the budget was presented and as much information as I've been trying to get about and from the public authority over the past year, almost all my efforts have been stonewalled in one way or another. Time constraints, information that's not really very clear, and now I'm dealing with going into negotiations tomorrow for home care workers. We're looking at, well, we're not in negotiations yet, so I think I'll freely say what I would like to see is all home care workers receive the maximum wage at the state level, which is $11.50 an hour. We're capped at $10 an hour in Calaveras County. I would like to see home care workers enjoy the same health benefits that the public authority has and that all county employees have, but we do not enjoy. And I'd also like to see some attempt to provide mileage or gas for the home care providers that are required to take their clients to doctors. The public authority has in their budget money for gas and mileage, but we're not allowed that same privilege. I'm not sure what's going to come out of negotiations because there's no money to do much of anything. We'll be happy to end up with what we have, but it's not what we want. Working through with the public authority, the IHSS Advisory Board, I have encountered resistance, secrecy, defensiveness, and I'm a public person trying to find information out.
Bonnie, the 5 minutes are up.
Okay. I'll probably have more to say next week. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments?
No, go ahead, sir. Please.
My name's Terry Baker, and I live out in Railroad Flat, and I'm here again regarding the rooster problem that we're having and the crowing and the illegal cock ranch operation that's going on in our subdivision on less than 5 acres. And today I'm going to read something, and I'm kind of tired. I've been up all night and up early listening to roosters, so I hope I don't make any mistakes. Anyway, this is regarding our citizen's arrest that we're making against Roberta Carolyn Redmond today, and it goes like this. Dear public entities and the Board of Supervisors and the Sheriff's Department, this letter is to accompany our arrest by private citizen, Penal Code 847, County of Calaveras form, which we were given by Animal Control to fill out. We are also submitting the form to all county supervisors and the county attorney, as well as the sheriff and Animal Control. We were instructed to fill out the form if we wanted to enforce the Animal Code against Roberta Carolyn Redmond. The prior form given to the sheriff deputy some time back was torn up and destroyed by the deputy, which we now object to as being improper. The deputy involved stated that after contacting Ms. Redmond, he was told by phone by county counsel and the county attorney. He then returned to Mr. Baker's house and told Mr. Baker he was going to destroy the form. When asked why the deputy had not cited or arrested Ms. Redmond, the deputy replied, "What do you expect me to do, kick down the door?" The deputy then left. Therefore, we have all taken the precaution to sign and fill out multiple forms and make multiple citizens' arrests in this matter, and expect the sheriff to arrest Ms. Redmond or Animal Control to cite, whichever is appropriate. But we are requesting her arrest under the multiple violations that are misdemeanor pursuant to Animal Control 6.04.140 B and C. We thank you in advance for your expected assistance in the citizen's arrest. And we CC this to every supervisor, to the county council, the county sheriff, county animal control, and the state attorney general. And I'd like to read our arrest form. I, Leal Pennington, Beverly Pennington Vieira, Sandy Baker, Terry Baker, do hereby place Roberta Carolyn Redmond under arrest, and I do further hereby assume full responsibility, liability, and damages of every kind and nature whatsoever arising out of the results from said arrest. I further understand and agree that the Office of the District Attorney in the Calaveras County, located at Government Center, San Andreas, California, may file a formal complaint charging the said Roberta Carolyn Redmond with the offense of violating County Animal Control 610-110 noise, or such other appropriate offenses or offense as the Office of the District Attorney shall determine. Based upon and as a result of this arrest, I understand that I will be notified by the Office of the District Attorney if a formal complaint is filed. The officer or officers into whose custody I have voluntarily delivered Carolyn Redmond in accordance with Section 847 of the California Penal Code were not connected with this arrest. I declare under penalty of perjury that I have read the foregoing and that the facts stated herein are true and correct. And this is signed. We have one from Leal Pennington and Beverly Vieira Pennington, Sandy Baker, and Terry Baker. And I have other letters I'd like to read, but I know my time's probably up.
That is correct, Mr.
So I'll
Baker.
just give them to you.
Thank you.
And I hope you read them, and I hope We hope that the agricultural dispute resolution does not interfere and obstruct in this citation. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Kerry Williams. I'm with the coordinator for the Calaveras Child Care Council. I arrived here this morning sort of last minute. I wasn't even prepared to come to speak this morning, but I've been talking with kids lately. I guess that's what I do most of my life, is talk with kids. And extraordinary thing happens with kids and where we talk. We talk in open places. We talk in wilderness areas. We're talking by the rivers where our watershed areas are. One thing I've learned about working with kids is the extraordinary importance of encountering nature. The extraordinary importance of living in communities where children have a connection to nature, a connection to where their water comes from, a connection to where their food comes from. Extraordinary thing about early care, children in early ages, is having the opportunity to live in communities where the air quality is clean and clear, that food is healthy and it's local. Children in this country are facing issues around obesity. Children are facing issues around diabetes and asthma, linked, obviously, to poor air quality, access to healthy, local, good food, and opportunities to explore nature and play outdoors. Those opportunities are becoming more and more limited. We're surprised, myself and kids, and I'm just talking off my feet right now, that we hear arguments about not supporting healthy, sustainable communities. Healthy, sustainable communities where children have an opportunity to grow, have an opportunity to be healthy, have an opportunity to achieve, have an opportunity to become adults, and maybe someday argue for their private property rights. Children really are tired of hearing about what's in the interest of private property owners. Children are ready to hear about what's in the community interest, what's valuable to us all, what's in the public self-interest. That's what children are waiting for. So today I'm here on behalf of children to support any initiatives, any proposals, any opportunities that will help support and sustain healthy communities here in Calaveras. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, folks. My name is Peter Reyes. I'm from Valley Spring, and I request your consideration on two out-of-the-sky action. One's taking place in San Diego County, another one's at Oceanside. One, I know you're in the middle of a labor negotiation, which I want to compliment you and thank you. But like in San Diego, as a matter of fact, in this county, I'm sure whatever agreement you come up with will be passed on to the opposite numbers for their vote, for their approval. I'm requesting that hopefully you can do it, and it doesn't have to be by the public, that I believe as the payer, and eventually liability holder for any labor negotiation, you do the same courtesy that is extended to the union members, be extended to the community that wants to actually pay. Any labor agreement that will be achieved should be presented to the public as much as to the labor. That's one. Another one, I'd like to show a little bit more respect and consideration to your organized labor membership on the basis that they are adults, they are over 18, and because the county is so strapped for money and they're so strapped for cost of administration, they believe that they can be trusted to pay their own union dues. There's no reason for the county to be the administrator of the union dues. Your employees, let them have their paycheck, and they should have the right and a responsibility to pay their union dues and expend it the way they wish. So those are my two requests, and hopefully it's something that the board can get into, or if not, please let us know, and then we can do something on this end of the soapbox. Thank you, folks.
Thank you, Mr. Reese.
Joe Kelly, to follow up on Mr. Martin's comments. Last week it was brought up that Holt does a lot of your equipment repair. So just how much service does Holt do on county equipment? Is it warranty only or after warranty repair and maintenance? What is the repairs capacity of fleet management? Item 2, the jail financing information request I submitted to Pooled Money Investment Board Administrator routed to the Department of Finance was answered by CDCR yesterday. That's what I brought up during the jail discussion. So I just want to let you know it did come about that they did answer, and they provided me a lot of information, and within that information did show that the Pooled Money Investment account is available for financing. Oh, and by the way, out of the 24 that have been given conditional approval, apparently a number of them have backed out, so there's money available. They're going for a second round of jail financing, in case anybody here is listening that wants another jail somewhere else. 3, the jail study session provided information of $1.2 million that local bidders could, local contractors could have a bidding availability on. That's all fine and dandy. As last week, during that session, I provided information that bonding is difficult to get at this time, especially with all the problems that contractors are having, to include the job continuation to be able to show the movement of cash flow. So is the county willing to allow the bidding of the $1.2 million project? Basically picking one bidder, but segment into affordable bonding segments, and this would have to be found out too, going through a qualification of those bidders coming up to find the number one, to see exactly what they are able to afford and what bonding companies are able to afford them. Without it, these most qualified contractor may not be able to bid the job in this county. I suggest you contact the contractors to realize their predicament. I hope you'll try to create local jobs by doing this. This is not I guess this is an unusual request and an unusual consideration. It's not normally done, but I think in this point it has been done in other places. I've seen it happen. So I would ask and suggest that you do contact the local contractors that could bid that job and discuss with them these issues. Now, number 4, is that correct that you took off item 7 off the agenda? So
yes.
You provided this as posted and everything. Are you going to allow public comment on it?
The applicant has pulled their application.
Withdrew their application.
They withdrew their application. So there is nothing to discuss. I mean, if you want to make a comment on it.
Okay, well, I'm just concerned. I missed where in the agenda that there was an applicant doing this. I thought this was just a county.
No, it was an applicant submitted.
It was their
project.
initiative.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Does anyone else have any item they'd like to discuss not on the agenda?
There is an item 7 on the agenda. There is an item 7.
It was the former item 7
That's a revised
the
agenda.
new revised agenda does not have that on it.
Which one were you talking about, Mr. Hill?
Agenda item 7 is going to be sustainable communities?
Yes.
That's
still on.
That's still on.
Very good.
It was 8, Joe. It moved to 7 when 7 was pulled.
Okay, thank you.
That's why I said the original agenda. Okay, does anyone else have any item they'd like to discuss not on the agenda? Okay. I want to move to item 5. a resolution acknowledging the Calaveras Visitors Bureau for being awarded a gold ribbon at the county's booth at the state fair. Ooh. Okay, so how would you all like to do this, ladies? Shall we approve the resolution and then give it to you, or give it to you and hope we have an approval?
Maybe you better approve it first.
May I have a motion,
Yes,
gentlemen?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Yes, you have to come over to the audience. This is under the directions of our camera. Did you all work the fair?
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for acknowledging the good work that the Visitors Bureau is doing. We think that obviously as Calaveras and listeners, this is stellar work for the county. It does a lot of good for the economy. And we received gold yet again for the state fair. We're delighted to have it. Thank you so much.
Having worked the fair many times, usually on Thursdays. Because I've worked it with Linda O'Keefe, and she was with CCWC. And because it was always, you always have a lot of people coming to the meeting. So let me read what we just voted on.
Marita, before you do that, could you introduce these ladies, please? Yeah.
I'm Rosie Sandell. I'm Director of Marketing for Bear Valley and a member of the CBB. Liz Bolton, Boxing Director for Caveman Adventures and the Manager.
Leslie Walters, Lock Lieutenant Officer, and member of the CBB.
I'm Michelle Lee with Angels Inn Motel, Murphy's Inn Motel, and Murphy Suites, and a board member of the CBB.
So did you bring your things that I can get these men to go down this zip line?
She can bring
down the zip line?
Sure.
I even have a card. Okay. Anyway, let's get back. And
As long as Rita's not tampering. Yes.
We're always hanging by a thread.
The Calaveras Visitors Bureau, in their second year of having responsibility for submitting a booth to the California State Fair, has succeeded in bringing home the gold ribbon. And efforts include many volunteers to continue this ongoing tradition to be awarded ribbons for the county fair booth. And the state fair theme, Your Passport to Adventure, fits perfectly with what Calaveras County has to offer. Whereas those participating in the many levels of planning, creating, transporting, and staging of this booth are greatly appreciated. And whereas the booth represents the many adventurous, agricultural, and historic attributes of Calaveras, highlighting Mark Twain and his contributions. Now therefore be it resolved by the board, the Calaveras Visitors Bureau is applauded for its hard work, dedication, and representing the County of Calaveras at the 2010 California State Fair, thereby encouraging visitors, positively influencing the economy of Calaveras. Thank you.
Thank you. She's taken down the booth, and actually her chief was not on display this year. So she actually,
That was great. Yeah. Thank you. If any of you get the opportunity to work the state booth, it's a wonderful adventure. And you get in free. Okay.
Is that why you do it?
Absolutely. So this next one's a little bit difficult to do, but it's a resolution. It's not that we don't want to. It's a resolution recognizing Phil Ross for his 31 years of service to the Calaveras County Sheriff. Again, I ask the board for a motion on this, or you can wait and not accept his retirement. Accept it. Okay, then may I have a motion, please?
So moved, Madam Chair.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Bill?
Smooch.
So I asked the women in the back if they'd like to come talk. They said, no way. Oh, Elma! I'd like to read this resolution on behalf of the board. Phil Ross started his law enforcement career with Calaveras County on June 1, 1976 through October 9, 1987 as a deputy sheriff, an investigator, and then a sergeant. On March 27, 1990, he went to work for the Angels Camp Police Department. You can go back there? I heard they had nothing. And then returning to the Calaveras County Sheriff's Department on February 1991 as a deputy. It's called Recycle. Did you learn anything in Angels since you brought that? Don't go back. On March of 95, he was transferred to Marine Safety, and during this time, Deputy Ross did background on potential Sheriff's Department employees. So I guess all of you that I see in here passed. Deputy Ross worked in arson, explosives, and bomb investigation. In October 98, he attended the U.S. Army Munitions and Electronics Maintenance School in Redstone Arsenal, Alabama. I used to live in Alabama, honey. We have Big Jim Folsom was governor. And on November 13th, worked real hard to get rid of that Tidewater accent. And on November 13, 2004, he promoted to senior deputy, where his stern, no-nonsense temperament served him well. Do you want to smile for the audience? And 3 years ago, when he went back to Alabama, he was the oldest working bomb technician in the United States.
And in that line of work, being old is a good thing.
That's right. Phil has risen to every challenge presented to him in his employ in the Calaveras County Sheriff's Department, exceeding what was expected of him, fully accepting the risk in his final assignment by responding to hundreds of bomb calls and hazard material spills, and talking to himself when he was in his chemical suit. Well, it's just sort of a way to meditate, like, why am I here, right? Among other things. Therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Supervisors that Phil Ross be honored for his hard work and his 31 years of dedicated service to the county of Calaveras. And on behalf of the board, we truly, truly thank you. So did I hear him say we have him till the end of the day? We have you till the end of the day? Phil, thank you so deeply, so very, very much. Okay. I'd like to move to item 7, which had been item 8 on the original agenda. Request direction to apply for Sustainable Communities Planning Grant.
Good morning, Dave Pastizo, County Planning Department. As you stated, we're here seeking direction to prepare a grant for the Sustainable Communities Planning Grant from the Strategic Growth Council.
Just a sec, Dave, why don't we take a couple minutes? Thank you.
Okay. So we're just seeking direction to prepare an application for this grant opportunity. And the application would be in conjunction with Tuolumne County and/or Amador County and some of the transportation and water agencies in the 3 counties. I think the grant provides us an opportunity to use some state funding to address some of the mandates that the state are giving us, including addressing greenhouse gas emissions, and also an opportunity to get some funding to update our development and zoning code, which we're going to have to do as we complete our general plan update. If we don't get the state funding, then we'll still have to do these things. We'll just have to find other resources to do it. And I also think from a planning perspective that getting the grant and working through this process gives us an opportunity to address particularly the greenhouse gas and the zoning code in a way that's relevant to our particular area in the state. Sort of historically, what we've had to do is try to cobble together solutions that other jurisdictions have come up with to address some of these issues because we haven't had the resources. So this may give us the opportunity to really address these issues from a perspective that makes the most sense to us. So if you have any questions.
Does the board have any questions or comments on this item? Does the public have any questions or comments on this item?
Good morning. I'm Bill McManus from Hanford Hill. In going through the agenda and seeing this item, I just wanted to state that I'm not a big fan of grants for several reasons. First of all, the state of California has cut off revenue streams to all the counties in the state. In doing so, they have created a need for money and a desire by local governments to perhaps reach a little further than they should to find money that has a lot of restrictions that go with it. In effect, grant money represent golden chains. The regular revenue stream that comes to the county is free for the county to spend on the projects that are needed. When you apply and accept a grant, you have to comply with the conditions of the grant. And so, as we know, grants are not free money. Sometimes it's considered that. But we have either already paid for it or it will become a multi-generational debt that we will pay, our children will pay, so forth and so on. When I hear that the grant is being applied for the general plan, zoning changes, and greenhouse gas, I would ask the board to refer to Appendix G, which is part of the grant application, and it involves healthy communities, which I presume will be part and parcel of the grant and may become restrictions that the county will have to comply with in order to receive these funds and spend them. Most notably, in Appendix G, I want to know what these have to do with general plan and greenhouse gases when we start talking about safe, sustainable, accessible, and affordable transportation options, accessible and nutritious, healthy foods, affordable, high-quality, socially integrated, and location-efficient housing. If that isn't doublespeak, I don't know what is. Complete and livable communities, including affordable and high-quality schools. Well, the Board of Supervisors doesn't have much to do with schools. We have school districts that we can take our concerns to the elected school boards. Further, there are some good things in here, minimize waste and all that kind of stuff. But as we move down, we find out that we're also maybe on the hook for adequate levels of economic and social development. and one of them is a living wage, safe and healthy job opportunities for all. How is the Board of Supervisors going to comply with this? And what is health and social equality? What has that got to do with the general plan update or greenhouse gases? And most objectionable in all this is the last group, which is social relationships, supportive and respectful, to include robust social and civic engagement. Maybe you can expand on what that means, because I haven't got a clue. Socially cohesive and supportive relationships, families, homes, and neighborhoods. This stuff is starting to get a little bit scary. This is reaching into private families, private citizens, to get money for a general plan update and to address greenhouse gases. Last on the list are safe communities free of crime and violence. Now, that's something I think we'd all like to have, but do we have to sign up for this in order to get some money to process a general plan that is generally opposed by most of the property owners in Calaveras County? I don't know how this grant application is going to be completed, but before it is submitted, will it be made available to citizens to take a look at to see what you're signing us up for? You know, you get to spend the money, but we have to provide that money for you, and some of the additional cost is for us to relinquish some of our rights, private property rights, and the rights to run our families the way we see fit. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Good morning, Madam Chairman, Supervisors. I'm Al Segala with the Calaveras County Taxpayer Association, and I'd like to say ditto to that last speaker. He's hit the nail right on the head. We recommend that you not approve this grant, but not stop there. Study the background information. In your board packet, I think you have two pages, or maybe 3 pages, which is a summary on this item. There's quite a bit more involved with this, as you got a little hint of it from the previous speaker. This information comes from a website, which we'll share with you, and there's 16 pages, and it's in those pages and in the appendix where you see so much of this intrusion in our liberties and property rights. So we urge you not to approve this, but to study it anyway, because we think we're going to get more of this coming down the path, and you might as well get informed as to what's happening, so you won't be surprised by this type of thing again. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Segala. Does anyone else have comment on this?
Good morning. My name is Holly Mines, and I'm from Railroad Flat, and I am here to speak on behalf of the Sustainable Communities grant for which the county is considering applying. For several reasons. One is that I think many of us who are concerned